didn't realize it was on mute. Yeah, hi.
Okay. All right. Okay, so
Yeah,
we have Anupama here today.
Hi.
hi.
She's going to be sitting in person. So I'm going to be sitting with you partly and then explaining to her part.
Okay.
So
Wow, that is
we'll have some live questions also.
amazing.
Okay, so let me share the pictures that I've shared today. So here I put in a bunch of pictures of some bugs. These look like real bugs, and then these have some patterns on them. This definitely does not look like it is a natural pattern. So there is a kind of illustration or like a homogenizing or no, like a borrowing of different elements into design, which can be one route to make your work more creative. So today we are just going to explore that. Here's another which looks like a bug, but if you look closer, this definitely looks like some print, like a text.
Yes.
And then if you look even closer, this almost looks like the
Spring, you can
ends.
see.
Yeah, it looks like springs or the ends of those yellow pencils. And the whole mechanism, in fact, looks like it could be made of metal.
Hmm.
So there's a there's this thing called biomimicry and biophilia. I had to read up on this myself. I'm not very well versed with these terminologies. I know what to do, but all this the philosophy or naming of things in art and design is somebody else's job. So I did some research, and what I found is there's two things that you can do. One is called biomimicry, where you take something from nature and you mimic that action. So when you have, say, wings that move like this, that is mimicking the movement of birds or butterflies, but you can use that in mechanics. So that is biomimicry. And there's lots of biomimicry now done in, say, uh, botanical sciences, वगैरह. So there's lots of stuff also with microorganisms. So it's not just the structure but also behavior of certain creatures that can be used in biomimicry. Then there is something called biophilia. Now, this is a term where you apply something that is human onto something that is you find in nature. So this is my interpretation. I've not found a clear explanation of both. So biomimicry, you understand with the words. Biophilia is still like a loose thing, definition. So what we are going to do today is take the structure of the insect, and on top of that, we are going to create patterns that are very human, very man-made. So, like in this bug that we saw, the first one, this one you can definitely see there are some
Beads
textured,
and
yeah, squares made with what looks like beads, and it you can almost see that it's probably applied on top of the back of a bug. They've just matched the colors perfectly so that you have a little bit of the bug visible and the rest is all put on top. So I can't imagine who did the slicing on such a small size, but tremendous patience looks like.
Looks like Japanese, no? Is it? They
I
always have a very tiny business that they do.
That is true. And also that script is so nicely fitting in a
Yeah.
square, so it could very well be Japanese. I wish I knew the source of this. Anyway, so this is one. This, of course, is easy enough. And I have also shared a bunch of these patterns. So we have a fleur-de-lis pattern. We have just what's it's like a some swirls which use the acanthus leaf, And then there's one more pattern which is like uh, it's what we did in school, freehand
Freehand.
design. Yeah, so we can use the same thing because all bugs have patterns which are matching. They are symmetric on both sides. So we are going to take these shapes like a bug like this. It already has some patterns, but we are going to remove the black lines and create something that is more human. So we can put more swirls in it or make it more defined and completely artificial. So you have the, I guess, mixing of two completely different things. You have something that's very natural and organic, and then you have something that is very man made and very precise, and put them together. So, this often confuses the brain. You see something that you know cannot be natural, but yet it throws you off because everything else that you draw, the structure of the insect, you can recognize and say this is a beetle, but how does a beetle have this kind of pattern? So the same reaction you had when you
Yes.
saw the beetle, the one which has that square pattern. It's a version of that is also called the uncanny valley. Have you heard of this term? I'll share one a talk about this. The uncanny valley is, it's like it's a term used when, especially now, you have robots and AI which are so intuitive, or you have robots that look like human beings, that when you talk to them you feel unsettled, or when Siri talks to you back to you, or your AI talks back to you, very human. It may crack a joke, or it may say something that is like somebody, like a person would say. That the gap between knowing that this is not a real person and getting a reaction that seems like and it could be from a real person, that is the uncanny valley. And it's just like a creepy feeling. So this is something similar to that, knowing that this is something natural and knowing that the pattern on it is not natural, but you see it together, creates that creepy feeling. So why this is good for creative exploration is because we are taking a small bit from one area and a small bit from another area and mixing it. So very often the first exploration in anything creative is to mix together things that don't go together. So that is how you force unpredictable outcomes in your work. If you're going to just make these bugs, we can make all the species of bugs. By the time we finish them, we would be perfect at illustrating only that. But we need to be able to take that further. So for that, we have to change something. It's like watching a movie. If you're going to watch like there's a hero, heroine, every day they get up, brush their teeth, go to work, come back home, nothing is going to happen. So then they insert something that
Twist.
changes, yeah, a plot twist. So this is the plot twist. That's how we can appreciate it. So we are going to make small illustrations on the page, not too large. They will be about an inch and a half or so. So we get enough room to try out some stuff. And first we'll try some very simple patterns and try making that first, and then we will try the more complicated patterns.
So size I did for this is all right.
Yeah, same size that
Same
we did
size.
those, yeah. Okay, so let's take one of the bugs from these. Yesterday we took the same, no? Or wait, should we change that? Take something else. There are some others in this list. I'll send these also to you. Okay, what should we do? Okay, let's take the black bug itself. Wait, no, Ashwita, I'll tell you which one to take. So you have some others that Susan had shared last week. We could use one of those. Okay, this one, this one. All right. So we'll start off with a beetle from here. Let's start off from here, and then we will move on to one of those moths. So yeah, choose maybe this fat one maybe or this one. Let's choose the top right, this fellow.
Okay.
Okay, and first we will just draw the structure, and then I'll show you how to draw the pattern in it. Oh, wait, not this one. Sorry. We will choose that Japanese one, that artificial Japanese, this fellow. Yeah, because there's a reason for this. I'm going to show a pattern based on this. Okay, so to start off, start with that thorax area. Ashwita, you do anything with botany or zoology? Why do I get the feeling? Okay, so you know the body parts. In case I
Yeah, I'm a zoology student. I mean, I
yes,
was a zoology student.
good. So please tell us the part names in case I make a mistake. So you have the head, thorax, and abdomen, correct? Okay, good. So we will do the thorax first. That's right in the middle. So leave enough room around because we are not going to start from the top necessarily. So the thorax will give us some idea of how big our object is going to become. Yeah, so this is about a centimeter across. Then on top of this, we can make like a soft rectangular shape for the head, the two eyes in the on the side. I'm adjusting the shape as I go along because in some places that shape looks a little weird. Okay, now right in the center, we will make that V shape, but it's a little wobbly V shape. It's not just a sharp line. It's like a very gentle compound curve from where we will draw a line straight down. The length of the line can be measured by just measuring visually how much space it is from the bottom of the V to the top of the head. And I have a feeling just visually seeing it that it's about one and a little bit extra times this section from here to here and a little extra to the bottom of the bug. And then the two wings part at the bottom. Then we have the wings extending out almost like a shoulder from underneath the thorax to the top of the abdomen, from where you can draw this down further. Now, a tip when you're drawing these circular shapes, you will always get one side very smoothly, and then the other side goes all over the place. So, look for maybe make some marks like that when you see that this is the distance at a certain point. Excuse me, mark the point on the other side as well so that you at least have one point to direct your line towards, like this. So it's easier when you mark these points and run your line through it. One or two points is enough. And then make a nice round bottom. Now at this point we won't make any legs. We'll leave the uh, what are they called?
Appendages?
Appendage, no? Uh,
I think so.
when I think of the word appendage, all I can think of is appendix. I know that they're not connected,
No,
but
it's right,
somehow.
appendage.
Done? Okay. Okay, now using these lines, the V shape on top, there is a direction that this V is giving us. Huh? So we'll extend the line further on both sides. Just make it go straight. And we are going to use these two lines as the guidelines to draw more parallel lines so that we create like a checker pattern. It's called the harlequin pattern. So I've drawn a line from here going straight down this side, and from the left top of the V shape I will draw another line going parallel to this. So I now have the a distance and a direction for the line to create a pattern, and all I continue to do is repeat the same even under. So when you're making symmetric patterns, one way to check whether or not your patterns are okay and your design is okay, you'll see that these lines that we are drawing arbitrarily are matching in the same place on top, like over here. If one is too high and one is too low, then that means you need to check the distance between the lines, or you need to check the original shape that you'd made. So you want to get these diamond shapes more or less even. Just draw a straight line. Just draw a straight line. It doesn't look straight, so maybe you need to make an adjustment of that. Okay. Alright, so now once this is done, we can think of other patterns we can do in this. So typically a harlequin pattern itself has many colors. There is one, I'm going to look for an image of a harlequin pattern and share it with you. Okay. Okay, so this is the pattern we're going to make. It's got a cream colored base and some bright colors, some neutral colors. So we're going to go with this kind of a feel. We have very few diamonds, so this pattern is going to be pretty distributed. So I want to show you how to paint something like that. To start off, we have to lighten all the lines, and we will create a base coat first. So Carl, I didn't show you the base coat, no?
So do I have to make more lines?
Extra, yeah. So इथून जेवढी जागा ही जेवढी आहे ना तेवढीच extend करून अशी line काढ. And you can expand that pattern further. Okay, so I'm going to give you, I'm just going to show you how to make this underlayer. This works for most paintings where you have to show some roundness or some depth. We will be doing this when we make birds, animals, anything that has like a soft fur, but you want to show some three-dimensional illusion. Okay, so we are going to make a grayish shade using whatever colors we have in our kit with some black. So a burnt umber, uh, black, and maybe blue. This will create a very neutral gray shade. Oh, I have one here. And we use a very small amount of this paper or paint. So we'll make this very little bit of color like this, and we use just a small amount of this on one side of the bug. So I want you to see how I paint this. Huh? Don't paint with me. First I'll show you the color, how dark it is. I'm wiping the brush now because it's pretty dark. Okay.
So we took black and sorry, I missed
I'll tell you what it is. So we can make it even this light. So this is usually any set of colors you have, some brown, some blues, and a little bit of black. So I use a black, ultramarine blue, and burnt umber.
Okay.
And that can give us a nice neutral black shade. And you need very little bit. So I'm going to put a shadow along this bottom. So I'm going to turn the book around. I could have done it on the other side also, but I want to do it this way because I want to show you that when you are making this brush stroke, Ashwita, have a look at this. Huh? Wait, because once I've done it, I won't be able to repeat it. So you should always point the tip of the brush towards the edge that you want sharp. And on the inside, we don't want the line to be very sharp. So I'm going to pull the brush to the end of the bug and just press it down and pull it towards the top. So this is going to be my base color. This is already very dark. I can make it much lighter, and now if I want to make it lighter on the edge, I've washed the brush a little bit, dabbed a little on the rag, and I'm going to go over it one more time. So I dislodge the color a little bit and I get a nice like a dual tone. And the same color can be used on other areas where you might see a little bit of edge. So just by the neck at this section. So look at how light it is. You barely see that shadow. That's how we want it. You can make one line through the center and in this V shape also inside. So even without any colors, this starts looking more three-dimensional. Okay, so I'm going to note the colors down over here so you know what to mix.
the pattern. I don't think it's symmetrical, but now.
No, it's okay. It's okay for now. Yeah, you just need to know. That's good enough. So you have to make this in one shot. If you, whatever you get in one shot, you do it and keep it as light as possible. So test it out. This is black plus ultramarine plus burnt umber. तो बॉक्स वगैरे लांब कर आणि तो ते रॅग पण हा दुसरीकडे ठेव, रंग बाजूला ठेव.
Ultramarine, right?
Black, ultramarine and burnt umber. Just a little bit, थोड़ा सा, or just on the tip of the brush you can take. Done, Ashwita? Okay, we'll just wait for Anupama to finish. Yeah, good enough. Yeah, the water is पाहिजे म्हणजे तो it becomes really light. So press the brush down. Yeah.
The side ला पण
नाही एकाच साईडला.
Center ला.
Yeah, center. Okay, now once this is done, झालं? थांब, कमी आता कमी पेंट घे, ब्रश मधला पेंट फक्त पुस. हां, यूज द रेसिड्युअल. या
इकडे मूव करू.
No, you don't need to. इथे on the other spots. And this line was to be very thin. But it's okay. तेवढं पुष्कळ आहे त्यासाठी. Yeah. So now we can make again a very light cream color using yellow ochre. So just a very watery yellow ochre is going to be enough. And this we will apply on the entire bug like a wash. So use a medium sized brush for this, not a large brush, and just stain the paper. So whenever you're making washes, remember to load the brush before it goes completely dry and keep moving forward in a regular action. So this color, once it comes over your shadow, that will also even it out and lighten it further. Should be fine. Very watery yellow ochre. Book as a angle leather. And load the brush a little more so it doesn't dry very quickly. Yeah. Now, while this is drying, are you done, Ashita? Let me know when you're done. Just put a thumbs up or something. So I don't want to rush you. हे वॉश सारखं लावायचं Yeah, so
ओके असं खाली नाही होणार.
नाही बिकॉज वी यूज ग्रॅव्हिटी ना
ओके
पण आय थिंक नाव इट्स ओके आता ह्याच्या पुढे अजून नको करू
इकडचं थोडं कमी
राहू दे that's
सोडून
okay. Yeah, it doesn't matter.
पेंट संपला काय
हो that's okay. आता तिकडे जर तू केलंस आय थिंक इट्स पार्ट ऑफ
Dark
इज गोइंग टू बी ड्राय हां इट बिकम पॅची so this much is fine. All right, so now while this dries, we can mix the other colors. So just visually, we can mix them as a deeper yellow ochre. We'll just use as many colors directly as we can. So you have a deep yellow color, which would be like gold. Then we will use scarlet. And we can use a cobalt blue in this as well. So the yellow ochre base will instantly change the color that we are going to get when we paint this in cobalt blue. That cobalt is going to look a little greenish and a little subdued also because of these the yellow ochre and the base notes.
Moving to a thinner brush now, right?
Yeah,
For this.
correct. And then the last color we can make would be a mix of, we can make a gray shade, which is a mixture of black and raw umber. Let's see how that looks. No, and a little blue also will help. So same cobalt blue. So then it becomes like a neutral but cool, leaning towards a cool gray shade. Now, if you feel like making a light gray, avoid the temptation to mix white in it because the white in this watercolor kit is rather opaque, so it starts looking very pasty. I think these colors will look nice. So we have to randomly paint these colors, except that there is that V-shaped pattern that we got, not pattern, the section just below the thorax that looks like it could be a dark shade. So that we can paint the dark gray shade we just made using that color. And the other diamond shapes that we are filling, you don't make these lines first and then fill. So you want to fill the diamond shape such that the tip of the bottom is just about touching the tip of the top, tip of the left is touching the tip of the right, but just about barely. So I'll show you how to do this. And the colors are fairly random, so all you need to do is you'll notice that every alternate row or say column is kept cream. So below this dark color I can fill any color, and next to the dark color I can fill any color and take that row down. But all the adjacent rows have to be blank, cream colored. That's why we put that base color. And in this also, if you want, you can create a less random distribution of shades. So you can distribute this as gray, red, ochre, blue, and then when it goes to the side, just shift those by one so that instead of this being gray, this becomes gray, this becomes scarlet, this becomes ochre, and on the right the scarlet can move up, or you can change that up a little bit. So before you paint anything, always think about the repercussions of your actions. Too much philosophy. How to practice philosophy with art. By painting this diamond a yellow ochre, that little triangle at its bottom reveals where the two wings separate. That can be a blue shade, or it could have been red also. I should have thought of that before, but I didn't. This is what happens when you don't think and act before.
This thing is very confusing as you as usual. Anything that's complex is a bit
Yeah.
lost
So
on
when
me.
you that's the thing that happens very often with artists. We tend to do so much of future visualization that now I've just noticed that if we continue to paint in the order that I'd given, all this reds are going to be in this diagonal
Thick, thick.
row.
That's not how it is, no?
No, not that it's not, it doesn't matter. We can change it up, but that might start looking a little too predictable. And predictable is boring. So something we'll have to change. So one line we can do the way we've decided, or we can just change the order of things. I can make the gray here, but then below the gray, I can make a blue instead of a red.
So we shift one.
Yeah.
But if you see the pattern here,
Hmm.
diagonally it is the same.
It is, but the two reds are different. You're right, actually. This
Yeah,
works.
yeah.
So we could do it, except that in this,
The two
we
reds are different and the gray and the ochre is alternating
that's true.
when you look at it diagonally.
Yeah. So
Only the darker gray and the red is parallel,
yeah.
alternate.
So gray and red are parallel in this order,
Hmm.
and then there's something else changing. But in a big pattern, I suppose it makes no
Yeah.
difference. But in a small pattern, I'm afraid that it might just not look that good. So I'm erring on the side of caution. But again, there are some things that unless you do it, you don't know. This was something that my mom used to always say to me as a teenager. No matter how much she would warn me about something, I would still go and do some mischief, and then she would say, Swata maar khalla jai karat nahi. Oh gosh. But a lot of things with color and composition are eventually become intuitive. And intuition does not come without experience. So, as much as I'd like to believe that just a little bit of study of certain aspects of art should work theoretically, I think experience is much better. Fortunately, in this, you don't get hurt. There are very few liabilities. So, you should try different things as much as possible.
On the sides, it goes over the gray, right? We don't worry about the gray shade
Correct.
that that.
Yeah, yeah, it goes over. I think this is when you make a sweater in this pattern, it's called argyle.
Or something called Wrangler. I don't know.
Is
From
it?
my mother. Yeah. Wrangler. I don't know
Oh,
what that
okay.
means, but because my father, now you mentioned my father had a sweater which she had knit.
She knitted?
Yeah, she
Huh.
knitted for
It
him.
could be, huh?
Yeah. I heard that word from a Wrangler pattern.
Hmm.
Google करूँ वगैरह पेज.
I've heard argyle.
Need a eye test after this Diwali vacation. Eye test.
Oh,
My eyes
this apne
probably
ye
whole
we are
day I'm in
doing
front of the screen. Maybe
uh,
end of the day it's
maybe.
I'm doing a pretty bad job today.
Oh, are you able to see how that gray is making the
Yes,
object look like
your
there's a shadow?
diamonds are like so perfect.
This is again something that my mother couldn't understand why I felt compelled to do this. Kids cut. That was a word. Kids cut. So every now and then, when I come across something like this, I will make a little shadow line, like over here, just one section or one side of the. I keep on thinking of it as leaves. It's not leaves. These are wings. End of the day, class. This is what happens. I think used up all the words.
It's becoming worse, I think.
नाही तुझे रंग विचित्र झाले कुठले. हा ग्रे आहे का? Is it supposed to be gray? मग
It's yellow.
how is it yellow oka? Where have you? It's too dark. तू
मी
ह्याच्यात नाही केलं?
त्याच्यावरूनच घेतलं सरळ.
हां, that's why it's
Because you
wrong.
said a deep yellow ochre, so I
But that is like the cake color.
I told you it's looking awful.
Yes, not awful really. but बाकी सगळे पण तसेच करून टाक. It's okay. As long as it's all uniform, what you think was a mistake. So that's the thing the analogy I often give for this is that Alibaba आणि Charlie store मध्ये होतं ना. This is that old Dharmendra wala movie. So in that there's a sequence in which the thieves are looking for Alibaba, when and they're gonna go and kill him and take away all their gold or whatever, because he's now found that gufa. Na? So they 2 or 3 of them follow him. They mark his house and then they go off. And at night they're gonna come and attack him. And Alibaba's maid sees them do this. You remember that?
Yeah.
I think the maid was Zina Taman or something. Very glamorous maid. So you're like in the audience, you're thinking, what are they going to do? And now this is the end of it. So I remember as a child, I was at the edge of my seat. That is too thrilling. So the trick that she does is amazing. They mark the door with a cross or something with paint, and you can't undo that. So she takes the same and she marks crosses in all the entire neighborhood. So then they can't tell which is the house. That is what we have to do with what we consider our mistakes. If you feel that something is not looking good, if you repeat it, then it becomes deliberate.
Yeah.
So then you should say, this is
I
what
don't
I
think I'm going to
intended to
have
do.
any trouble doing that today.
Yeah, so this is, if you make it deliberate, then it is design. Otherwise, it's a mistake. It's like cats also.
Many of the major masters must have done
They
stuff
have,
which
I'm very sure they have, but I mean, it's not like maths where an entire equation is wrong or can go wrong by just a few symbols or signs changing. Here, it's all so subjective. You can just say, this is exactly what I wanted to do. You can't do that in portraits, though. That you must remember. So this is to
But I
come.
wanted to ask you last time also, because I get all these now Google suggests all these things since I've started
Hmm.
searching for colors or whatever. So this Chagall, I think the name of that artist is
What's his name?
Chagall.
Chagall, Mark
Chagall.
Chagall.
Huh.
Huh.
So somehow his paintings popped up, and I just failed to understand. I mean, how did this? How did he sell those? I mean, maybe after he
Hmm.
passed away, maybe the price increased. But what do people see in his those forms? And they sell for millions of dollars.
So there's a whole history that we need to understand for that,
Okay.
which we'll do when at some point
Sometime
we are
I
going
wanted
to.
to ask you
Yeah, yeah. At
this
some point
because
we
I
are
remember.
we do this now module on artists and
Because
art
you said that
history.
if it looks like a mistake, I suddenly thought of him. To me,
Yeah.
all his paintings look like
So
a mistake.
that was early modern art.
Yeah.
Well, not modern art. I would
So
say
he's
Chagall is not
consistently done
modern
the
art,
same
but it would
way.
be that is what I think that vein went into modern art eventually, but that was more about a more freer expression of thought rather than skill in painting. So there
Yeah.
was a complete rehauling or overhauling
Yeah.
of what it meant to present art.
Yeah.
So we'll definitely do that. But it was not a mistake.
It looked, and because you said consistent, so
Yeah, it's
consistently his
not.
paintings look like that.
No, I don't think they were mistakes, but
I'm just
it's
kidding.
very easy to think that. Okay,
I think I'm going to do the rest of this at home.
Salil, no problem. Okay, so now that we have this pattern ready, we're going to add another element of creativity to this. So I'm going to share some images of
You share
these
this
gestures.
image with me as well. I can.
Which one? He?
Hey, huh?
That I'll share in a bit. It was last Tuesday PM. Huh? Right, so this is the an illustration of the old Harlequin jester suit. So we can easily use this as our inspiration to now draw the limbs, the appendages. Now, if you look at this, you have 6 things. You have two uh, the extrusions from the hat, then you have the sleeve, and then you have the legs with pants, which are very cute pants with slits. So our insect also has 6 appendages, and we can easily convert those appendages into something that resembles the harlequin costume. So let me show you first and then you can make it. And now this is something that you can also change and make it your own. So the first one, the appendage comes from somewhere over here. So I can make it like this, following mostly the structure of the insect, not the structure of the pants. And then take this up and out. So it's pretty much the same. It starts off really bulky and then becomes narrow towards the end. Then you have the hands which have a ruff. So you can draw this, and either we can draw a ruff or we can just keep these one color. This is good enough also. So this again, not a change in the structure at all. The bottom one, however, you can actually put some pants on this. Now here we are taking complete liberties with the original insect, and then put some legs into those pants, and then finally you can have something that resembles the shoes or just keep them plain. So we can apply a lot of thought even for something as basic as an insect and recreate it in an anthropomorphic form. Now, the top can be either plain or we can make stripes onto it because remember, we are in control of our illustration. So, just to make it more insect like but less insect like, we will change the plain pattern and convert it into just stripes. Now, here again, if you feel the need to, you can give a wash of that same yellow ochre. I think that might help so that it does not, the legs suddenly don't look too stark and white. I'm using a 0 number brush for this. So everything will get a nice base coat of yellow ochre. And now to take the jester trope further, we on the neck we can make these V-shaped patterns to imitate the collar of that jester. And this part we can paint in any 1 or 2 colors instead of all. So you can make, we could introduce a little bit of gamboge here so that that color looks slightly different from the base color. We have gamboge over here, much brighter yellow. And then once that dries, we can make red in the remaining 2 triangles. Buktar. Buktar. And the sleeves, no, it's the hands. Oh, not the hands, what are they called? The first 2 hands. So once you get this idea, you can literally put anything on it. And you can first start off with something simple like just making polka dots, or which is like a almost adjacent to the original design. So the beetles which have the dots, you don't put the dots in that form. You put them in one order, so like 1, 2, 3, then alternate and fill it up more than just putting those 5 or 7 dots. So then that becomes a change, an addition to the idea of a bug. Then you can make flowers. or you can make faces also
On the bug.
on the bug. Anything you want, literally. And the more you start seeing its shape and saying, okay, what more I can do with it, the more ideas you'll start getting. And literally say, what if I see something very mechanical? What if I put that? You could, in fact, start seeing something like fancy blades and stuff. That can also be part of the bug. So that is how you start moving into more creative, imaginative design. Okay, for these ones now, for the middle hands, yeah, we're just gonna make them. We can make those in two colors maybe. And the bottom can actually look like fans. So they in this there's an old Alice in Wonderland movie by Disney. You should watch that. They have just gone to town with this concept. The it must have been amazing being in the room when the artists must be thinking about how can we make the dream look like a dream. I think they must have been, the brief must be that think of everything out of this world, whatever you can think. That's why then you've got those roses that there's a whole sequence of flowers that are talking and singing. It's just absolutely beautiful. As it is, the story is so creative, na Alice in Wonderland. So add to that Disney artists, म्हणजे काय, it's just beyond.
It's just same for any Disney movie you see.
That is also true, yeah. I'm putting a little red hand here and red shoes here. Now, with all this, he looks like he could walk into some court. But imagine making something like this. Then you have to also wonder where you would make it, where it makes sense or can be enjoyed. So these are the kinds of graphics you can try making on things like grocery bags or your diary covers or something like that. They can be imaginative, they can be quirky, and something that you know is original because you will have thought of what mixture to put together. Right now, in the end, we just have to make the eyes on the side. Huh?
He's going to watch you.
Okay, okay. Eyes are hurting? Yeah, so in the end, we make the eyes, but in the eye also leave a little bit of a highlight. And because there's so much happening, we really don't have to make anything on the head. No design is needed. And we can then pull out the antennae. So here's another thought, that we can pull the antennas out, and on the edge of the antenna, because it needs to be a little bulbous, you can put that bell. These antenna look like a cockroach, so I'm going to change that and make it a little less cockroachy by making a teardrop shape chain.
Ready to go.
Yeah.
King Edward's coat, I think.
Yeah. And then once this dries, then I can make the bells if needed. So because this pattern is like a medieval pattern, instantly the graphic has got some
Yeah,
medieval recall.
correct.
So we started off with something that was so weird and quirky, and then we have changed that, or inspired from that, we've changed it and made something that is equally quirky. So to finish this off, we can put a nice light shadow. Bless you.
Sorry.
So very watery cerulean blue can be applied along the bottom and right. So keep it a different consistency. Keep it watery or very dilute, but not, don't take too much in your brush, because then it'll rush into the colored sections. So it's just a little stain of cerulean, and only on one side, to make it look like it's three-dimensional and sitting on this. So the bottom here I've not painted anything. We can paint something, or we can just make it more shadowy so that it stands out. And using the same shadowy color, just a very little amount of that in the brush, you can, over this, you can create extra shadows so that you can emphasize the I guess the texture a little bit. It's time already, 7:30. Okay. So the next thing that you can do is take a pattern like this, maybe the fleur de lis, and try to recreate that. So I'll just show you a quick sketch of this. So say if we're going to create something like a moth, you can always look for a shape where that fleur de lis can make sense. So I'm taking the blue moth, start with the head. It's got this, already it's got a very nice shape, and wings that go sideways. So on this, I can put that fleur de lis in a certain form and see how that works. It can be something like this. Then there's like a little belt on the side. the two extra shapes come on the side. I'm changing the shape a little bit so that it fits here. And this can then have maybe some more additional patterns like this. And before you know it, we have converted what looks like a moth into something anthropomorphic. Not anthropomorphic, that would be more human. Some human element to it. Okay, so I'll share a picture of this, and then during the week, if you get time, you can just take any of the pictures that we have or start with something simple like do a chevron pattern or a zigzag pattern. So you just draw a small basic insect and put some simple pattern on it and then play with colors. And in coloring, also keep the palette limited. Keep mostly neutrals, or if you're using warm colors, then stick to some, maybe two or three warm colors, and black or cool colors and a white or something like that. So you create adequate contrast. Then it should be good. Okay, Ashwita, how are you doing? Oh, how nice. He's become huge though, but good.
That's a problem I'm sensing with myself. Everything goes bigger. So I think there's something in my eyes. Everything I draw is like double the size of.
No, it'll come down. It's the first shape you draw. So it happens that you'll start now, it'll start changing over time. If you've noticed that everything becomes big, the next time you make a shape, draw it and then make it smaller.
Reduce.
Because by now you have experience of how that first shape dictates the final image. You know? So you'll start changing. I have another student who will draw a building also the size of a bug. So, but she's young. She's 7, 8 years old. So I have to keep telling her, please draw bigger. And the biggest she will draw will be like 1 inch. Then she's like, yes, I have made this big.
For the
So,
earlier bugs, what helped me was drawing a line. Then I can see that it's going to be this big
Huh.
or this big
Yeah.
or this big. Then I can adjust the other parts in proportion.
yeah,
So if I decide that I want it only on the half, like I see yours is like
right.
a little less than half of the page. So then I know that that size it has to be. It will look like that size.
But you need that first line you're saying.
Yeah, that that
Okay.
helped me. I mean,
Huh.
getting those of the same size because
Right.
here I was trying to match the sizes of these bugs. So I thought that okay, they should look the same size. I can
Right.
have one
So
bug
did you draw the line first?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
For all three, I first drew
That
this
that
line.
also. So that's another way of going about it. First, decide on the dimension with the line between the wings, and then you can draw the thorax. That might also work.
Because when I drew this line, then I knew that this is going to be this
Right,
much.
right. Yeah, makes sense. True.
I mean, if it helps her.
Let's see now. That's something she can try. Chal,
Thank you.
I'm gonna have to end the session now. So next week is a holiday, and we finished 3 bug classes this month? We have, right?
Yeah, I think so. We've done three. We
Huh.
did the
And just last week's you missed.
yeah.
है ना? Okay. All right. Okay, so that one class then we'll do sometime in December, I think. Just
Yeah,
push it
and
forward.
we'll figure out the time as well, like
Yeah,
whatever. For
I
yeah,
also have done three.
okay.
This one,
yeah.
two,
And today's
today's.
class, yeah. So we'll do that one also later. All
So I was
right.
thinking AI could help. Like you could have a set of clones of people sitting in there, and it'll give us something that there's some people also
Yeah,
joining
that's a
in.
great idea. Yeah, and AI can also learn how to paint watercolor. That'll be good. Chalo, see you
Okay.
then. Bye.
Bye.